Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, Happy Cells and Souls. My name is Julie Powers and I am a licensed Zumba instructor and a partner with the Juice Plus company. And my mission in life is to help people understand that life is better when they're dancing through it and to inspire healthy living around the world. But my expanded mission is to create better health at the cellular level and more joy at the cellular level. And so I believe that this is the most interesting conversation I've had so far. It's so fun. But I believe that we are supposed to have the healthiest bodies possible while we're here on Earth because we only get one body to live in, and we're supposed to live happy and joyful lives. And so in my life, I've met all these amazing, remarkable people, and today I get to have a conversation with Hope Hall and her little friend Helen for just a minute there before she goes back to talk to her mommy. Helen is one of many, many goats on the Sunflower Farm in Maine. And Hope and her husband Chris own this amazing farm, and we're going to talk to her about that. I just believe that every single person that we ever meet has something to teach us and to share with us. And it doesn't matter what our backgrounds are, we can learn something from everybody. And so this is going to be a fascinating conversation. So Hope, would you like to introduce us to Helen?
This is the smallest goat who's been born on the farm so far. She has a pretty loud voice though. Her name is Helen. All the baby goats get names as soon as they arrive. And she's, for a Nigerian dwarf goat, she was probably a little less than 2 pounds when she was born. That's small even for them. But she's already doing all sorts of awesome leaping and is really healthy. So this is just one of many of the new arrivals, and we're expecting 60 this season.
60, oh my gosh. Okay. The video keeps freezing up, but we can see the baby's face, and so sweet. So while you put Helen back with her mommy, I'm just going to give a little bit of information about Sunflower Farm. And so it's so fascinating to me that that there are so many people that do all these really cool things in their lives, and I know nothing about it. But this is a no-cull goat farm, which means that all the goats that are born on your farm stay on your farm forever, and they are strictly there as pets or for their milk, for their dairy products. But this is not a meat farm. It is a very humane and happy place for these goats. I'll tell you what, people love watching kitten videos and dog videos, but goat videos make me smile every time. And my baby brother Scott is the one who introduced us so that we could have this conversation. And he has an obsession with baby goats and with goats that wear pajamas. And I have seen all these amazing videos of your goats running around in pajamas. And I'm wondering, is that something that you do because it just looks so dang cute, or because they need to have that extra little layer of warmth when they're first born, or how does that work?
Yeah, so it's actually a wonderful example of how lucky we are to have a modern farm that's connected to really the world in all sorts of amazing, super kind ways. A long time ago, when we first started the farm, an older woman named Stella, who loves to do special sewing projects for people who need them, sewed our goats' pajamas and sent them all the way from the other side of the country to Maine, so that if they were born on a night when it was below freezing, they would be able to put those pajamas on. In the beginning of kidding season, sometimes it is a little cold for the babies to keep their body temperature up. So a sweater or pajamas are something that a lot of livestock farmers might use in that first few hours, just so they can put all their energy into getting up and nursing. After that, though, it's just for fun.
Right. Oh, they are just adorable. And you have a YouTube channel with all kinds of fun videos on it. And your website, sunflowerfarm.info, actually has a live camera feed from the barn, right?
That's correct. Yeah. And people tune in from all over the place. We have a lovely woman who works as a librarian in Scotland who watches the goats, has them on in the back of her computer a lot of the time, and people in Alabama and all over the place. And you can see on the map who's watching, and there's even some people out on ships in the middle of the ocean
Wow.
watching the goats in their stalls, which is really kind of fun to think about all the cool ways technology can connect us when we're isolated. So I never really feel alone, even though I'm doing the work often alone in the barn or with Chris. I know that there's lots of people rooting for the goats and their good health and enjoying their company also.
Well, talk about bringing happiness and joy and love and light into the world. I mean, how could you do any more than what you're doing? Because you are spreading all this happiness all around the globe, literally. So I'm really fascinated by the fact that people would have a goat farm. I am not an outdoorsy person. I'm not a big animal person. I'm a tower gardener. I don't like to garden in the dirt and the mud. I'm kind of an indoor girl. But we need people like you out there. So how did you even come to own a goat farm to begin with?
I've always loved animals, but I didn't know that I was a farmer either until our daughter, who was in middle school, told us so. She came to my husband and I and said, our younger daughter had done research about factory farming and wanted chickens as kind of an answer to that she could treat really well. And then our older daughter said, well, if she gets chickens, we need some goats. And I think we better get them soon because I want to be able to tell my kids I grew up on a farm and we're farm people. So we better get started or, I'll be married and out of here. And she was only in middle school and all of
Oh my gosh.
talked to us. So we got her a couple goats thinking they would just be pets, no real plan. And then really have just followed our intuition from step to step and our curiosity into this life, which I never would have predicted 12 years ago, but is like, I do think we were farmers all along. Our daughter knew that before we knew it. And it's really a joy to wake up in the morning and be able to be a farmer in this way.
Well, so you said you're expecting 60 kids, 60 goats to be born this season. How many total goats do you have there at the farm?
Yeah, so we have 30 of our own goats. Our own herd is 30. And in that, there's multi-generations. So there's old retired grandmas. And there's the first goat we ever got, whose name is Don Pedro. He's a neutered male pet goat. And then in addition to those 30 goats, there'll be the 60 babies. We won't keep all those babies. We find homes for them before we breed the mothers in the winter around Thanksgiving, Christmas time. We make sure we have houses lined up for them where they can go in 2s or 3s. And then we send out kind of educational emails all through the winter and spring leading up to when the kids are born so that people are really prepared for them. They're not just jumping into owning goats on a whim. And so they all find really amazing homes all over kind of the Northeast. We don't ship them, so just in this area.
Oh, they have to come pick them up, like in a special trailer or something, or is there like a goat carrier, like a dog carrier and a cat carrier? Is there a goat carrier?
Yeah, you can fit 3 in a dog carrier, so they would just go in like a dog crate.
That's great. So all the people that are adopting these goats, they are either going to be pets or they're going to use them for goat's milk as well?
That's correct. So people will either get a neutered male if they would like it just as a pet and to kind of eat stuff that they want gone off their property, or some people even train them to pull a cart. Or to go hiking with, but and then the ones that buy the does, the neutered males are called wethers. And
wethers,
then if people, wethers, yep. And then people who buy the does usually think they're going to breed them eventually so that they can get milk. I would say about half get around to it. They just end up enjoying them as pets a lot of the time, but the half that do often then end up collecting goats like we have over the years, because it really is so satisfying a life that I think people who end up breeding end up really enjoying it and getting into it.
Well, okay, so besides giving these goats new homes and keeping all of these goats as pets or for their dairy products, um, you also have goat snuggles. You have yoga with goats, and you were the first in your state in Maine to offer that, which of course, you know, in the world of coronavirus and the brand new strange world that we will be finding ourselves in on a regular basis from this point forward, some of those things where people are close together won't be able to happen as they used to. But
Yeah.
I'm guessing that you will find a way for things to still happen with your goats so that people can come and enjoy just watching them and being part of that. So I used to do yoga a long time ago and it wasn't for me. And then I got back into yoga very slowly. And I cannot imagine having a goat jumping around or hopping on me or standing on me while I'm trying to hold a position. Uh, so can you tell us about that? Like, what is the connection? What is the connection?
Yeah. I think a lot of people see it as a gimmicky thing, but for me, it's totally not that. I love how you opened. You said something about how our goal should be to dance through life, right? Something like that, right?
Yes,
And
life is better when you're dancing through it. Yes.
dancing through it. Well, that's what goats arrive doing. They are leaping within 24 hours of being born. And everyone asks me, why do they leap like that? They just have joy. They're joyous creatures. I don't think
They're
there's a,
always smiling. They're always
they
smiling.
are, they are. So the yoga, I do yoga as a way of finding calm and joy and peace in a world that can be frenetic and crazy and can throw us out of balance. Now is a great example of that. So having the goats around, they become kind of like this double purpose. One is a metaphor for the things that can throw us off balance, that distract and demand our attention. But the second part of the metaphor that I think is the most important one is having a sense of humor about our present moment whenever we possibly can. Obviously, these are
Right.
very, very serious times. And there's no denying that a lot of us have heavy hearts as we think about all the people and the struggles they're going through around the world. But goats add that degree of levity where there's a number of people who come practice in the pasture who would never go to a traditional yoga studio because it's just too intimidating for a first time. And then they find this love of themselves and movement and being out in the sunshine and doing kind of movements that they maybe haven't done since they were a little kid, even if it's as simple as laying on the grass and looking up at the sky. That's something
Right.
that don't make time to do.
Right.
So the goats are, the babies are only around for the very beginning. So they don't really, you see a lot of pictures of them hopping on people in a pose. They mostly wander around and chew and like look adorable and are a nice diversion during hard poses. So, um, and later in the season when it's just the moms, it's really amazing how the energy of the people doing yoga is connected to the goat's energy. And by Shavasana, almost always the goats are laying down in the pasture like gorgeous boulders in the field and calm, just like the people are in the pasture. So it's this nice kind of symbiotic relationship and a way for people to get to know their bodies, but also livestock in a way that's kind of personal and quiet for a whole hour of just sort of, you know.
I think that is great. Well, first of all, I love that goats come out dancing. But, you know, I really believe, and it's becoming more and more apparent to me every single day of my life, that we are all so connected around this planet. And we're connected to the planet. We're connected to the animals. We're connected to all of the flora and fauna everywhere. And, you know, if we think we're not, we are kidding ourselves. And so I love that you're bringing all of that together. Now, would I be one to go hang out in the grass with a goat standing on me? Probably not. But I would go and watch. I would go and watch, and I'd be dancing in the barn with the goats hopping around. How high can goats jump?
See if I can show you those are the stalls. Can you
Yes.
go to see. Yeah, so there's a couple that if they get a little leverage on a hay bale or something who can hop out over that. But Nigerian dwarfs are smaller,
Right.
much smaller breed. So our fencing is 4 feet. They have
Okay.
never gotten out of our fencing outside.
Gotcha.
But they do just kind of like, they can do a stand in place leap directly up in a really cute way. And sometimes the adults do it also with
Like a Jack in the Box. Yeah, they're
yeah,
like Jack in the
or
Box.
like popcorn or something.
And I love watching them how they almost kind of go up in this little handstand thing.
Yes, they do sometimes.
And what other tricks do you see goats doing on a regular basis? Because you know how dogs, they always like to twirl around before they plunk down and get comfortable. Is there something that goats do habitually that you find very interesting or humorous?
What something the babies have started doing, the 2-week-old ones have started doing a lot, is jumping on their mother's backs. Even if their mother is walking, they can like leap and land it right up there. A great gymnastics move. And yesterday they were all piling on top of their mom when she was resting and sleeping up on top of there where it was nice and cozy. Um,
That is great.
yeah, I'm trying to think of what other tricky things they do. It's just a lot of leaping and hopping. But the other thing they love to do actually is run together. They're herd animals. So the babies, I usually, kind of clap my hands and start running and they'll follow me. But last night as I was doing chores, the oldest group of babies, 8 or 10 of them, were doing it themselves. They were sprinting all the way down the driveway, and then they'd all look at each other and turn around and then sprint all the way back again, just for the fun of it.
Just because.
Yeah.
Just because, and I love that all the goats have names. And some of the names that I read on your website were Matilda and Fern and Cinnamon and Go-Go. And what were some of the other ones? Rosemary, and you have Vegas and Helen. And, there's just fun names. And so do you all name them, or do you have like naming contests, or, how does that work?
Yeah, each season we do a couple things. We usually pick a theme for the names that we come up with, and this year's theme is travel because no one can travel.
Right.
So I ask people to pick their favorite city or place in the world that they'd love to be in. I was supposed to go to Vegas for my 50th birthday, and all my friends were turning 50, so we were all going to meet up. Didn't happen, so that's where Vegas got its name.
But yet you still turned 50, and you know what?
Yeah, here I am.
I did that a few years ago.
The other babies people buy in the winter months when we don't have any source of income in the farm. They pay $40 to name a goat in somebody's honor, and we send them a little certificate. And those stories have been just so incredibly moving. The names they picked and why they picked it. A lot of them are for parents who have passed, or kids, seniors who are graduating this year who are missing their graduation, or really nice, sweet names. And one little girl messaged recently and said she would like one to be called Jelly Bean. So I can't wait for Jelly Bean to arrive. I think Jelly Bean will be in the next batch. I haven't decided if it's a boy or a girl name. She didn't specify, so I'll have to figure that out.
That is great. So if somebody were to want, and do you only have goat's milk products, or do you have other products as well?
We are mostly a kind of a farm stand for goat milk's products. We have other fun farm stuff like a book that we wrote that has all the recipes, and t-shirts and hats and stickers and soap.
So people can order those things online, or do they need to come to the farm to get the goat's milk products?
So far, we've only really, except for our calendar every year with baby pictures on it, which we'll put out this summer, we haven't done a lot of shipping just because Chris and I are alone and doing everything, all the farm
chores. A lot to handle.
Yeah, and making it to the post office just sometimes doesn't happen. But given the circumstances of right now, we're setting up an online ordering system so that people can do farm pickup.
Oh, great.
It may be that leads to some shipping in the once we have that set up, it may be kind of a natural thing to start shipping at least the caramels, vanilla salted goat milk caramels and fudge, which are delicious.
Ah, that
And the
sounds
other
really
non-perishable products.
interesting. Yeah, you know what? I call myself vegan 95 because I don't eat any animal products except for usually like 2 to 3 eggs a week and a little bit of Greek yogurt. And if I eat cheese, it's goat's cheese, goat's milk cheese,
Oh,
and
nice.
or a little bit of feta occasionally. So I'm gonna have to make it out to Maine to try this out and come check out this farm.
Absolutely.
What I love is that your name is Hope. I wore my earrings today that say hope on them. Uh, I have some that say love and I have some that say joy, but today it's hope. And I love that you are bringing hope into the world, because a friend of mine posted something the other day that fear does not stop death, it stops life. And worrying does not take away tomorrow's troubles, it takes away today's peace. And so I think that what you're bringing to the world is more hope. And that yes, there are terrible things happening. There are terrible things happening all the time, every day, in people's homes and in their communities and in the world. But if we are not the love and light and hope, then who's going to be? What is there to reach for, right? So you are doing that in the most amazing way, and I just love this conversation, and I can't wait to share it with people. And I want people to find your farm and watch all the goat videos because they are great. And I'm so thankful to my brother Scott for putting us in contact with each other, because it's just a great day. It's just a great day.
Well, you brightened my rainy day at the farm. It's pretty drippy and cold here, and we're kind of in between. 3 or 4 goats are supposed to have their babies any minute now, so we were up all night kind of watching them. So this is it's nice to chat with you on the other side of the country and get some of your positive energy infused into the barn for the next round of kidding.
All right, well, let's go get it. Let's go get it.
Great, that's great. Would you like me, after we close, if you'd like, I can just show you the goats in their stalls so that if people would like to take a picture.
Absolutely. All right, so we're going to close this conversation and I'm going to go see more goats.
Okay, take care. Have a great day.